Today I'm doing something a little different. I'm going to be playing The Sims 4 and trying to recreate the world of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. What got me kind of thinking of doing this idea was while I was doing the Buffy CCG video, I somehow got recommended a lot of Sims videos. I think somehow there's a crossover between people who watch Elder Scrolls content and Sims content. I think they're both owned by EA, maybe. But somehow I got a lot of Sims content, and in truth, I haven't played The Sims since I was probably 11, 12. Like, we're talking like Sims 1. Um, but, well, at least played it religiously, I guess. I did buy Sims, but I bought Sims 4 on Black, I want to say Black Friday last year, so I've had it a year, but I've only really started getting into it and playing it more now. Because I think it only cost me like $10 on the Black Friday deal last year, so I was like, why not try it? um, And now it's free. That's the funny thing is like while I was developing this, they're like Sims Space Game is now free. So that was kind of a an interesting turn of events. But anyways, I just wanted to see if how closely I could recreate the world of Buffy the Vampire Slayer in The Sims 4. I don't know if I So in some ways it is a challenge, in some ways it's not a challenge because as far as as like video game challenges, I wouldn't exactly call it that, but I have found some things very challenging both in game and outside of the game as I was trying to do this video. Like I bought uh why can't I think? I bought a flash drive and I was putting the videos on that because doing a lot of the videos, it takes up a lot of gigs. Like, even a small video on your computer could be up to 10 gigs, and it builds up quickly. So I wanted to put some of it on there, but the one I got, it was not good. So I lost some of the footage. So that was my first hurdle. And then I was recording myself, um, I was recording myself talking about it while I was playing it. Or at least I thought I was. And then I went through and it was recording because of the way um, my capture card was working. It was capturing just the audio from the video game. So I was very frustrated because I lost what I said in the videos too. So I'm sitting down here and I'm gonna rewatch the footage and kind of just tell you what was happening. And it's at least gonna be like that the first couple of videos of this series. It is gonna be a series. And depending on how much people like it and how much I like it, it doesn't have like a definitive end. And but so and I'll talk about the in-game challenges. I say that in quotes because a lot of it was just like I don't know if I don't understand the intricacies because like I said I'm pretty new to The Sims 4 still. Like I probably have less than a month under my belt and um like a lot of the building relationships is hard. And I think so I already have this video is going to cover probably about 40 minutes. And the next episode is going to have a lot of me trying to build, like, this episode is kind of showing off the world um oh my gosh. And trying to get all the key people to meet each other so that I so the way I started it is I have them. I'm starting to debate whether I should have just did something weird and had them all in the same household. Like, there's one group of people who are kind of in the same household, but they're not really. And I wonder if there was a way I could have done the same, because getting them to interact with each other initially was challenging. That's the challenge of the video. um, but I'll get it started here. So first thing, when I was recording, so when I created Angel, I guess I should say what packs I have. Okay, I have the the Batu Star Wars one came with the game. Then I got vampires, and originally I was just going to get vampires and then kind of see from there. And then they had this big sale for when they had the Sims Retreat, something like that. And so I got the werewolves one, I got the Realms of Magic one, and I got the Get to Work one because originally I had another idea of what to do, um, like, and I might do it, so I don't know if I'm going to tell you, but I wanted to kind of showcase building something financially from a very famous person's perspective. And so I've wanted that one for a while, but I'm not going to tell you who just yet in case I do end up recording it, because I don't want someone to steal my idea before I get there. But anyways, so when I started creating the characters, I didn't know you had to press create an occult sim first, because I originally was just gonna have Angel. He was just going to be just be a vampire, like originally. And um and I forgot to press that at the beginning, and I created him, and like and then I found out how you're supposed to create the vampires, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do it all again. So what I ended up doing is I have played a little bit before what you're seeing here. Mostly what's new here is that the Summers family has moved in. Um, they were in a different neighborhood before. They've moved in here. Um, and and it was just kind of I just kind of tried to build up what I needed to, like, I got, like, I'm on the fence on how I'm going to have her, quote, slay the vampires, because I at least want her, like, I want her to slay the master at least in this series. Um, so I was trying to figure out a way to have her, because you can't outright have the Sims kill each other. You can have them fight each other, but I was like contemplating how am I going to simulate this. And originally I was going to be like, well, maybe she could because I think you can force feed the the vampire cure potion to vampires, and that was initially how I was going to do it. But then I found out, like, no matter what, it's like 2,500 simoleons, and I'm like, right now they don't have the money to slay vampires, which seems kind of weird. But anyways, back to where I was getting at. So, um, what I ended up doing with Angel is I actually had Darla sire him. And um, it's kind of funny because, as you're going to see here, um, because it's a process, and the process finished right as Buffy and her family moved in. It was kind of it was kind of odd. I'm not gonna lie, and they I haven't set a preset for his vampire form, and it looks like he's just going to the gym or it's really cold. But as you can see, this is their house. Um, Now, like I said, and I'll probably say this again a lot of times, I am pretty new to building. I'm not an S tier builder yet, but originally I built this house and I kept having to shrink and cut because I wanted them to be able to afford to move in here. And I ended up, finagling. I ended up having the big, or not, I was about to say James Turner's family. It's not the big wallets, it's the land grabs. They took a loan out for the land from the land grabs, in which so that I could finally afford this house, and that's even with the. So I wish I had saved like a picture of what it looked like, because I think before it reflected a little bit better. It was a little bit bigger. It had a lot more stuff in it. Um, but I figure I could kind of replace that stuff as time goes by. One major flaw that I do not like about my build is that the place where the roof is, because, so what I ended up doing is I looked online for floor plans of like various buildings in the Buffy. They're all fan created, and it it had it pretty much had this floor plan, so it seems like the upstairs is significantly different than the downstairs, to the point where I had to shrink a lot of the top in order to in order to that's kind of where I penny pinched. But anyways, the thing I dislike most about my build is that where the roof is, there you can see through it, and I don't like that part because it's like there's this cliff, and I just didn't. I didn't care for it. So eventually, I'm going to fix that, and I'm open to any suggestions. But I have recorded a lot in advance, so if you don't see those suggestions happening as you were watching the series, don't feel like I'm ignoring you, because it's more um, it's more that I've already recorded so much, and I'm just trying to um, get out what I've recorded, and then as I'm not sure if I want to keep doing it like how do I say this? If I want to record then voice over like I'm doing now, or if I want to just continually um, like record, this time do it the right way and record how I am, like in real time what I'm like as I'm playing. And one thing about Buffy and Dawn, and I have all of the characters, all of them, like the main cast. I even made Angel a teenager because you kind of, like, in order to, um, obviously, in order to have relationships, they have to be the same age. And so that's why Angel is a teenager. So Angel goes to school. He's supposed to do his homework. But it's it's more to, like, I know that's pretty inconsistent with how he is in the show, because it's kind of weird because he is supposed to be, I think, around his 20s. So it's kind of weird that way, but but in my version, he is a teenager, and this time skip is where I lost a lot of footage. So, and to start off, so Buffy and Dawn have a terrible relationship, and I keep trying to figure out how to get it to be better for them. Um, and so I do. That's a goal. It's probably going to happen. I actually am planning on doing something special for them, but it's not going to be in this, like, probably there's going to be a couple of episodes of this playthrough before I do that. And as I don't know if you noticed, but in the entry room, which every picture I found, this room is so weird. So basically, it's going to end up being kind of like an office area, kind of like a place to. So right now, Joyce is a landscaper, because when I was initially playing with just the. So when I started building and everything, I only had the base game, Batu, and vampires. So in order to kind of get close to what she does, I thought that maybe maintenance would be it's I don't know. It's probably a painter would have been better, but I at first I'm like, well, she doesn't really paint herself. She just buys and puts it out for different people to for collectors to buy and stuff. So initially I thought, well, maybe that's the closest from base game. But now I have a different idea for her, and it's not going to happen for so the thing with Buffy and Dawn is going to happen after what I'm going to do with Joyce, and I'm going to actually have her run the. I'm going to create something for her, like a small business that she can do, because she only works the weekend. I think it's literally just the weekend in her current job, and she makes decent money and they're able to live, but like when Buffy and Dawn are at school, I just have to kind of entertain her with either painting stuff or right now they don't have a computer, and I probably should get them a computer because I think where I last saved, they have enough money to do a computer. Because Joyce, I've also had Joyce write books too, so she's getting some income from her job, getting some. I from my playthroughs, it seems like a lot of people kind of use that. They use the being an author as a way of kind of getting some extra cash. So I don't know if that's going to be her long-term goal. I think so. Right now, I'm also having her paint, and we're collecting it, and eventually, I am going to create an art gallery for her. It's going to be small at first, and I'm actually going to base it off of a place here in Utah called Gardner Village, and it's kind of like all these. What they've done is they've repurposed some old pioneer houses, and they have one that is like an art studio, art gallery kind of thing. But then there's also like restaurants. There's there's like a furniture store, candy store, toy stores. It's so eventually she's gonna kind of run this, but she specifically will be more in the art gallery one. But that's my plan with her, and it's gonna what so um with her, I'm going to build it probably piece by piece. I do have the magic box pretty, like, I think it's 100% built. Um, so eventually Giles is going to run it, and I'm going to, but he has to earn some more money because I think so I do need to do more research into how the businesses work, but I think technically he could still. It seems like you could still buy it. I don't know if you end up getting in debt from it or what happens with that. I haven't gotten that far yet, but I wanted him to at least earn some more money before I got there. The funny thing about I find it funny because there's times where trying to play as Buffy, it's really hard. Like, I don't know if they intentionally made the teenagers more moody, like in real life, but there's a lot of the time where she's really sad. And so, um, the thing about Joyce is as an adult, her skills are really good, and maybe that's just me being naive to the mechanics of the game. But Dawn is even a little bit more. Um, she's a little bit more like consistent on how to keep her happy. Um, and Buffy, for some reason, it's really hard for Buffy to maintain relationships. So, her worst relationship is probably with Dawn. Um, but there's times where if I leave them to their own devices, they they just insult each other. Even with Joyce and Buffy, like, see, Dawn's just being crabby, and now, and like, it's, and Buffy does not like it. So there's times, and I need to figure out how to get her back to being happy again. um, and I have made Dawn a. So in the show, for those who don't know the show aspect, Dawn is kind of an interesting character because she's essentially this otherworldly entity known as the Key that had kind of inserted herself into the Summers' lives, and you could still say that that's a part of the lore of my playthrough or whatever, but mostly I wanted to see them interacting at this stage of her life, where she is like a literal kid. Like, she's pretty much a preteen slash teenager when she's introduced. Pretty much a teenager. I think, yeah, I think she's either 14 or 15 in season 5, Dawn is. Well, is supposed to be. But, so this is Sunnydale High, and so I haven't purchased, the high school years, and I'm on the fence on if I want to or not. I wonder if it would actually be better for her, for Buffy. So if you think that the being able to be around kids might make her a little bit more happy, a little bit allow her to interact with her friends more. Because it seems like she gets home from school and then it's like immediately she has to. It's like there's not enough hours in the day for her to finish doing her homework, hang out with friends. I also want to try and get her physically fit so she can win fights with vampires. But I think I also need to get her mischief. I think she has to like mischief too in order to start fights. So I think, so obviously I have not, and see, I even looked, I was already starting to look into some of these potions because I wanted her to have more time to do the things I wanted to do with her. But we'll have to. So I don't right now buy something. I think in the next video I do end up getting the sleep replacement for. And I don't know if I should have wasted my points on that because it only happens the once. But I kind of was just looking to see what there was because I hadn't utilized this one as much. So when I first started thinking of the idea of this playthrough, I actually had found someone on the gallery who already made like all of the main characters. And I don't know what I did in that game because in that, when I was playing with that set of Buffy characters, Buffy like was like perfect. And I don't know if I had somehow, because when I was a kid, I used the money cheat all the time and I wanted to build them a better house. And I was trying to figure out how to do that, but then I found out you don't get things like the PlayStation trophies because I am playing this on PS4. And so I decided I was tinkering with that, but I didn't actually input anything because I found out then that you lose out on on these I guess the trophies pretty much if you use the money cheat and stuff. So I don't know if me starting to do the money cheat somehow, the TLDR of it is that somehow I had the Buffy on that file, she was perfect in almost every skill. And I don't know if it was because that's how the creator had done it and I had the same like all of that carryover was there, but it was it was surreal because she didn't need any work. Like she didn't need sleep. She wasn't hardly hungry ever. But to get back to the playthrough, this is my version of Willow, and I'm trying to remember who I moved her in with, because with her and Xander, I felt like they needed to be in different houses than Buffy. But at the same time, oh, and I find this funny, like, Buffy's just drama. I don't know what I did with my version of Buffy that made her so grumpy. I don't know if it's because I need to figure out how to um, make Buffy happier, I guess. And maybe she's crabby, and that's why people kind of like right now. She doesn't like Willow, like. And one part, so the first person I got, so in part of the footage that I had lost, I had introduced Buffy to Cordelia. And it was the funniest thing because she ended up, her her hygiene, I had not taken care of it. So it was so weird because she was like getting along well with Cordelia, of all people, and and she was basically stinky and irritable. But so right now, out of her friends, now she only knows Cordelia and Willow. Um, the funny thing is that I tried to, and I keep moving on from my initial things. So Willow is and Xander are in families, and I did not create their parents from the show. Like, I just moved them in with pre-existing Sims families because I feel like, so you see Willow's mom in one episode, and you see Xander's parents in one episode, and Xander's parents are awful human beings. So there's not, it doesn't seem like there's really a point to create them. It would probably be more realistic if I did, but, and there's still the option because I could always move the other people out. But, when I was creating Willow, it auto-generated someone, and he looks to me just like the guy who plays Flash Thompson on the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. And so I squirreled, and I quickly just made a Flash, so she lives with Flash Thompson. um, so getting back to the school thing too. So right now the school is considered a library, and um, like if I do end up buying the high school years, I probably will transplant this as the high school and make it bigger. But right now it's just supposed to emulate the high school, and I used blueprints that I found online of different, like this is the library, and like as it, from what I gather from the different YouTubers I watch, like platforms can be awful sometimes, and I wanted it to be higher because in the show, the back recesses back there is actually way up high. So eventually, as I get better, we'll deck it out a bit more. But I think it fulfills, like most of the spaces I've created, I wouldn't say are like one for one, but they're more or less just to kind of give the feeling of those areas in the show. So that's what I did with the high school. It's currently a library, and the funny thing is that like kids and adults come here because it's obviously a library. So it's just kind of interesting because they they'll come and you'll see Dawn pop up and other little kids pop up in this library, and it's kind of weird thinking of like 10-year-olds basically just loitering inside of a high school. Um, but so it kind of like this video is about how I got her to meet most. I think there's only one character, so I did create. Like I know just said I didn't create Xander and Willow's parents because they're in just like one episode, but I did create Jesse, and he's only in the first two episodes of the show, and he is human. For those who haven't watched Buffy, he ends up turning into a vampire and pretty much just gets staked like a day after turning into a vampire. But so I do kind of I don't know because he's the only one that I don't think I've gotten um to meet everyone. So like there's a few people who I essentially have moved into like an apartment complex kind of area. And I don't have city living, so it is literally a household that I've designed to look very loosely like the apartment complex that Giles lives in. So Jesse lives Jesse, Angel, Jenny, Giles, and two new characters who aren't based off of anyone in the show live in this complex. And I'll probably get to show you that maybe in the next episode. We'll see. Um so this is this is one problem I've faced is that the autonomy I can't even say the word. The free will of the Sims, none of them want to, like, I'll put them in a place, I'll save the game, and they just all want to go home. And so I don't even know if in this episode everyone meets Xander or not. We'll have to see. But I thought that was kind of funny that I was trying to have Buffy meet Xander, and he just walked away from her. He's like, no thanks. Um, so I did, I did work pretty hard on trying to get them to look as closely as I could get them. And like, so from a point I was making earlier, is there was somebody who I downloaded theirs, and like I didn't want to just use someone else's. So I ended up scrapping them, and I wanted to make each of them my way. And whether that's a good or a bad thing is up to you guys, I guess. Oh, and the funny thing is so Snyder lives in the complex with all of them, and that there was Jesse. That was Jesse. And Principal Snyder's pretty funny because I decided. So when I created him, I made him not like mischief. But then to fit in with kind of like the scummy deals that he's done in the town with like the mayor and stuff, I made him a criminal. And so he has a very hated existence because he has to do this stuff for mischief in order to get his, like, to be good at his work. And he has like a terrible life. It's kind of fitting. That's why he's miserable. But finally, we were able to get Giles and Angel to meet Buffy. I don't think she ever talks to Jesse, though, so I don't. I'll have to check when I next play. And I'll let you guys know if she has, but I like I don't know if I'm kind of being a flip-flopper because I think it would be interesting because I thought it was really weird. So Jesse was supposed to be Xander's best, like both Xander and or both Willow and Jesse are supposed to be like Xander's best friends, like the top of the world. And like after episode 2, I don't think they ever talk about him again. And so it's kind of, I don't know, I thought it'd be interesting to him have him be in my playthrough and see like what life could have been for him. He may end up getting turned just like he does in the show. I haven't gotten that far. Um and so far for the vampires, um so there's the Master, Darla, and Luke. And I think I am originally I was going to do this all chronologically, like not introduce like Spike and Drusilla till after Buffy had killed the Master. But I don't know. I might introduce like it's not going to be in the next episode because it's already been recorded. But I think I'm not going to do that. So the two people that I made to live um, in the complex with them are named Chance and Landon, I believe. And um, Chance, um, he's kind of funny because he's kind of good natured, but like his aspiration is cooking, and that's Chance right there. And I don't know why they're editing stuff. None of them are editors, or I don't. Sometimes I find the free will of the Sims very interesting because they do stuff that I wouldn't suspect even based on their personality. Um, and I haven't. I need to work on getting Jenny and Giles to know more about each other. Um, like obviously in this playthrough, Jenny doesn't have to die. Like I guess that's another spoiler. Spoiler: Jenny died. It's a 25-year-old show, so if you haven't watched it, sucks to suck, I guess. Just kidding. But anyways, so in this playthrough, she can live, and she was actually like I have a fondness for her character, and I kind of wish. So I read in an article that she initially it was supposed to be Oz that Angel killed in season 2. Um, but because Seth Green was such a popular character, they decided to kill Jenny off instead. And I like in hindsight, I kind of feel like Oz Oz was a fun character, but his impact on the world of Buffy wasn't as big, and I think it was left like when he it it, it was it didn't leave him on the best terms. Like, I know in the comics and stuff that you get to see Oz again, but when Seth Green became a big popular actor, he left the show, and that's at least from my understanding, is that they wrote him out of the show because he had wanted to pursue his acting career more. And so my point is like, in hindsight, I almost wish that they had chosen um, to kill Oz over Jenny, just because I think there could have been, like, Giles doesn't get a happy ending either. Like they introduced Olivia. I think that's her name, Olivia. But I think she's only in season 4. And so, and I don't know, not every character has to, like, get married and have a happy ending, but I don't know. I always thought it was fun with Jenny and Giles, and I kind of wish it. I guess I ship them. And I kind of wish that she had lived. Like, I know it was a pretty poignant thing to have her die, but at the same time, I think sometimes with hindsight, you could you could have different opinions on things, I guess. I don't know. But so I have not controlled Angel to feed on anyone. That is going to be kind to try and keep in with his character. So right here, I'm trying to figure out how to get him the plasma packs, but I think at this point I didn't have his vampire lore very high. So I don't know if he's fed on people while I'm not controlling him, because I think in another when because in the next episode, the footage I have, he didn't seem hungry. So maybe he's fed on people, but we'll have to see. And I don't know why it keeps showing him scared. But so I do so this right here is Landon, and he is, I gave him kind of an odd, like, I wanted him to have kind of like a Robin Hood personality. I think I gave him, I'm going to pop it up right here. Because I'm going blank right now. But basically, he likes, I think it's like the criminal, oh, that's it. It's the criminal, like, aspiration. But I gave him the good quality. So, in my mind, he's kind of like a Robin Hood kind of character. And it'll be, like, I do kind of want to to explore more with them, with both of the characters, and I think that would be interesting, kind of to put my own footprint. But this is the this is a weird place to end, because they're just gonna sit on a couch. But I figured this would be, because a good stopping point for this first video, just because they for the most part, they all met each other, and I got to kind of show off the world. So Um, I hope you liked it. Please stick around for the next couple episodes, because I think at least it'll be entertaining. um, but I think it will be fun too. And this is a weird segue, but the room that they sat in is actually the auditorium, and that's probably the worst room that I made in the high school. But if I end up getting high school years, it is like either way, I'm going to probably do some renovations based off of suggestions. So, please leave me suggestions in the comments. But like I said, I have already recorded some, so if you don't see an immediate like change, don't feel like I'm being a jerk. Alrighty. Well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. I'd really appreciate it if you would like the video and subscribe to my channel. And then until next time, I'll see you guys later. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.